What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo of SEScoops.com, and I am here today on the Premier Streaming Network. It is episode 24. I am here. It's one of a kind with RVD, and guess who I'm here with, guys? It's RVD. Wow, Rob. Jeez, what are you doing here?
Dude, what are the odds, bro?
I can't believe it.
What I'm doing here is feeling awesome. I hope you are too. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching me on AEW. I had a blast. I felt good, man. Felt good out there in the ring all the way through it, and felt good afterwards. And then afterwards, I walked through, and bam, there's Ric Flair. I'm like, what? What are you doing here, dude? And I thought it was a really good show. Good energy. Always awesome to be in Philly. How long do you think it's going to take till somebody steals my spinning leg drop to the back that
Dude, that was fucking sick.
But not long at all, I say. We'll be seeing that real soon. But dude, every time I get in the ring, feeling better and better. So that's how it is. Like when you're on the, if you do it regularly, or myself anyway, I should use first person. If I'm doing something regularly, then it's like I'm working on the craft, looking at it to tweak, to do improvements, to show something that I didn't show last time, whatever. But when they're all one-offs, there's really not that much put into it, because then it's more like, hey, people want to see you do the shit that they used to see you do, to show them, give them a Rolling Thunder, give them a Frog Splash. But it's been cool to continuously be part of this momentum, and it looks like me and Hook are kind of engaged now.
You guys are kind of BFFs right now, I think.
It looks like we could have a reason to see some more of RVD besides being such a damn good wrestler, because now it looks like I got a position mentoring Hook, and I'm enjoying that too. And it's really cool. I like him, and also it's really cool. And it's cool how the crowd takes to it because of Taz and me going way back. So
now, you guys kind of assimilating a little bit more. Like is Hook kind of like you guys kind of vibing pretty well backstage? Everything like that is still more relationship and shit.
Yep, get along with him a lot better than I used to get along with his dad.
Nice. That's a good start.
Yeah. Took me
20 years.
Took me 20 years to come around to being able to meet Taz on the same page and be able to talk. But no, Hook's he's really cool, and obviously already looked up to RVD, so that goes a long way when it comes to building a relationship, and all the guys there, are really respectful and cool, and everyone always says that. Fans too, always, I grew up watching you. I know.
Yeah,
everybody.
I know. I'm aware. I got it.
I remember you.
You don't remember me, do you? Well, so when you're wrestling with Hook, are you seeing similarities between him and his dad too?
Not really. I mean, just maybe a little bit in the move set, But I mean, I kind of forget that he came from Taz's scrotum bag, when I'm out there. He's his own person, and just like any of the wrestlers, big personalities. So as far as just, and I don't mean that he's a big extrovert by any means, quite the opposite. But what I mean is that, he stands on his own. So when I'm teaming with him, I kind of forget about that. I'm not thinking about his dad. I'm just thinking about, boom, there's Hook, my partner out there. He's in trouble, tag me in, I'm fresh. And then, afterwards when I'm celebrating, then dad comes to mind again a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that pose.
Did you guys do the pose this time?
Oh, yeah.
Did you? Okay, because I didn't see a picture of it or anything on it. I was like, I hope they did something. I was like looking up on that when I was watching TV. I was like, are they going to do it on the air? I want to see it on the air.
Hook did this really cool thing where he points his thumbs at himself.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
It sure wasn't the goose thing. You didn't do the goose.
No, but I did see a third version the other day, and it's fist closed, and it's this. That's what
Wow.
somebody was. I like it when I like you do that. I always do this with you.
I flex with you, Rob.
Yeah, that one. I don't know. I mean, that one's closer than this, I guess. At least,
right? The Linda McMahon.
Basically. Some people see that. Some people see this.
Right.
Some people see this.
Oh shit! Wait, how'd you do? Holy shit!
Wow, damn, stiff.
Jeez.
I am stiff.
Holy smokes, that's a shoot right there.
Mm.
We'll touch upon a little bit more in AEW in a little bit. I did want to start off. By the time everybody will be able to hear this, it would be Hallow's Eve. Rob, I don't know if I've ever asked you, are you a horror movie guy at all? Do you like scary movies?
I wouldn't say I'm a horror movie guy, and I like a good scary movie. It's not something that I do often. Katie's not really into them because it's Halloween. She's talking a little bit, she's going a little bit out of her comfort zone, but it's definitely not something that I track down.
Sure. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I kind of get into more of the spirit, obviously, when Halloween rolls around. But I'm not like actively seeking out horror movies. Now, to be honest, I don't think I've even watched anything yet this year. But is there anyone that stand out to you that you're like, oh, if I were? I
love the Simpsons Halloween specials.
Yes, the Treehouse of Horrors. Yes.
Yes. We watched something at the hotel room the other day. And whatever it was gave me the impression they were going to show all the old ones leading up to it. But if they did, or if they are, then I can't find it. I was looking for it on DirecTV, and I got something to record. I think it's the new one. They're in like season 35?
Yeah, something like that. I think they started
at
like
least
39.
39. Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, and I remember before they had their own show when the Simpsons were part of the Tracy Ullman show.
That is right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how OG I am. I remember when Fox was brand new channel, risky.
Were you a Married with Children guy too?
Absolutely, everybody was.
So good.
Yeah.
And did you know too that the Bundys were named after King Kong Bundy, and the neighbor, the Rhodeses, were named after Dusty?
I did know that.
Yeah, pretty wild. Okay, what do you have? A standout episode when it comes to the Halloween Treehouse of Horrors, or I guess little segment that they do, because they do three shows in one show of the Treehouse of Horrors.
No, I can't name anything specific. I just love how they kill the characters off.
I know, me too.
Makes it extra special.
It does. As a kid, it would be neat, but it also creeped me out because I'm like, I love Homer, I love Bart. It's like crazy shit, like the zombie episode. Oh man, so many good ones.
If they are doing a marathon or something, I hope I find it in time.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I love The Simpsons. Really set the tone for my sense of humor. I think it was
when I was a kid. The scariest movie to me, my whole childhood, was The Exorcist.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know why, but I watched it before I should have been old enough to. Like, I remember when it would come on, being told go to bed or whatever, and like peeking around the corner and saying, I remember watching the bed bouncing up and down with that bitch tied to it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to happen to my bed. I'm laying in there and I'm just thinking like the devil is under my mattress, under my box springs, and is going to start, lifting the bed and shaking it around and stuff. And that movie scared the hell out of me. And it would come on at least once a year, and we'd always watch it, and always had that same effect on me. Like, back then, like, Satan was real too. That was a part of everybody's life.
Yeah.
Was avoiding that motherfucker.
And you had the Satanic Panic, all that shit going on too at the time. Like,
what's that?
That's like in the 80s, I think. Like,
they went after the rock bands,
after rock bands, and I think Dungeons and Dragons was and people were like, "Oh, that's satanic," and this, all the AC or whatever,
But it really was. It really was. And there was a documentary that I watched that used to scare the shit out of me because it was all like they were just proving everything, like all the albums that have to have Satan on the cover and the names and what they're singing about. And then like I remember Dio, Ronnie James Dio, turn upside down, it says devil, and like they went through a lot of hard work to make those letters appear to be different letters upside down. And then there was playing the music backwards. You could play Another One Rides the Bus backwards, and it'd say he is the internal one. I don't know, it was something. He is the Holy One, Christ your infernal. I'd be like, you Christ your infernal. But it was scary even hearing that as a kid, hearing that music backwards with that creepy voice. And that was, I remember the documentary was telling me that they put all that stuff in there on purpose, and Satan did that, to win you over. And what's weird is now, as an adult, I just realized maybe that was one of the things environmentally that built my values now. But and I've said this publicly, I think that music subconsciously controls people. I don't listen to it nearly as much as most people, or enjoy it as much as most people. And I feel like that while the music is going and people are, whether they're singing the words or singing it in their head or just rocking their head or whatever, they're being controlled to an extent to be driven by the music. I don't see how you could argue that.
I think fair point.
Whether it's good or bad, whatever. Yeah. But I'm just saying like that. I always, as an adult now, I've said that I prefer to have to be able to have the music off a lot of times, and let my brain go where it's gonna go instead of hitching a ride from the DJ.
That's, a lot of the times I listen to music all the time, like if I'm working out or anything like that. And like, I ride on that. It gets my head out of my head of what I usually think about. And so very much to that point, I think you got a very valid point on that.
Yeah. I never put that together with that documentary I watched as a kid, but holy crap. That's, that probably opened up at least that doorway of me thinking, because I know it's true. I mean, it definitely, at least you can tell by the way people gyrate and they want to be contemporaries. They love it, but it's everywhere. And that's what I've always said. Like it's not just a thing. Music could just be a thing, but it's a thing that's part of every other thing. So if you're watching Married with Children and it starts with music, love and marriage, part of it, right? And your alarm goes off and it's music to wake you up, and it's fucking music to watch wrestling. Every wrestler goes out to music. So it is really an overall encompassing entity. And I've noticed, because I don't subscribe to it the way everyone else does, and I'm not saying I hate it, but it is fucking everywhere, and it definitely does control people, at least to an extent.
Absolutely. And you watch a television show and the motion rises and they played music behind it to get you caught up into it even more, even to that extent. There's
what's great, what's not talked about nearly enough is the dance face. Like I always say that and point that out to people. Everyone, when they dance, I don't dance. Music doesn't move me that way. And it doesn't mean I want to. Like it used to be like saying that. People go, oh, you can do it. Watch. No, I didn't say I can't. I don't want to. I can't imagine why anybody wants to, at least dudes. Girls, it looks like if they're, you look at their body and it's like a kind of like artistic sometimes. And then, I don't know. I mean, Michael Jackson could fucking move, but I mean, like dudes that are on the dance floor going like this, how are they having fun? I have no idea. Right. I wouldn't enjoy that, but the dance face is hilarious because everybody has the most ridiculous dance faces, as if the music's taking them over. And I'm always pointing them out, because we were watching Shark Tank last night. And I was like, look at Mark Cuban's dance face. He's like, ooh, as if it's like fucking, what did it do? It just fucking went up his ass or something. And then there's other music and other people are like, and it's like they do that and they don't even realize it because they're performing. Because I think that's what dancing is performing. and it involves the face. I ruined it for my evil ex one time because anytime she would start to dance, she'd do this stupid thing where her eyes like roll up and she'd be like, ew, and her eyes would like roll up. And then one time I was just asking her, it was a serious question. I said, what is that when you start dancing and your eyes go up to the top of your head? Is that like a dance move or what? And she was like, I don't know. It's just something I do. And I totally ruined it for her so she could never fucking enjoy when music came on again and she wanted to be get into her stupid performing character, Yeah. But anyway, yeah, if you notice that, it's not talked about enough. The way that people look at each other, they're like, they're looking at me like, right? Like a suggestive look, or like, I don't know, man. I try to translate some of these fucking funny dance faces. And it depends on the music, I'm sure, but I love that. And again, it's something that's not talked about enough that's right in front of our face all the time. I love it. I would love to just fucking, if you're going to have me on at the dance, I'm just going to record people's faces and shit. That's the only way I can imagine having a good time.
If we're ever together and I start dancing, Rob, you got to record me because I want to see what I look like.
Dude, you have a fucking great dance face, I'm sure.
Do you think so?
I bet you don't even know about it, dude.
I didn't even think about this, Rob. Yeah, I bet I'm like, something like that. It's got to be cringe.
Where do people learn that though? I mean, you just mock what you saw on TV or something.
Maybe I like watched Boogie Nights and then I saw them dancing in there.
You said, "Hey, that looks cool. I want to do that."
All right.
I always had a theory like watching dudes dance and watching girls dance, and I always thought that the straight dudes were only dancing because they wanted to get close to the chicks, and that was how to get the girls. And I always thought that, but I know some straight dudes like dancing. I'm sure there's a lot of gay dudes that don't like dancing. So it's not like a complete absolute blanket statement, but I don't believe in absolutes. But overall, that's something that gay dudes and women are usually better at than straight dudes. They always look funny out there dancing. And people even laugh at them. Like you're out there and you're performing and everybody laughs at each other too. So you're like really putting yourself in a vulnerable spot, like judge me, Go
on.
And then look at that guy over there.
I'm an idiot.
But anytime anybody says that to me, points somebody out like, oh my God, look at that guy. Unless he's like really, really being ridiculous, I'm looking and I'm like, they all look ridiculous to me.
Right. There's no way you can kind of look serious when you're dancing.
Well, from my perspective anyway, but that's me being the alien, the platypus that I am, which you said you didn't notice. I had a platypus on the back of my outfit in my AEW match. And that is my animal that I identify with the most. It's nature's nonconformist. The platypus doesn't fit into any other previously defined categories, made his own rules. They said, dude, what are you, man? You're a mammal, but you lay eggs. Like that ain't right. He's got venomous claws and fucking duck beak and a beaver fucking body. And he just does his own thing, and they were like, you don't exist. You're a paradox. You don't fucking fit into our categories. And you know what he said? He said, hey, I'm just being myself.
Yeah.
It's your systems that must be flawed. So I love the platypus, and I did have a platypus on my back. Whoa, look at those fucking fucking
Jeez.
Arm thingies.
It is Robbie the Barber Beefcake right now.
Yeah.
Gimmick change. It's happening.
What's that?
I said gimmick change. It's happening. Okay. So I did want to ask you too, in regards to Halloween, especially a horror movie. Would you like to play the killer in a horror movie, the hero in a horror movie, or would you like to die horrifically in a horror movie if you're to be cast in one?
I would like to be the hero. I've had a couple scripts come my way for movies where if they were made, I would have been the hero. I was a bit of a hero in that shark movie, and I really liked it. I was a hero in Wrong Side of Town.
Yeah.
But there's been some where I'm shooting. might have done one that was a secret project where we're shooting zombies. I guess that's the fucking Mac Daddy of horror movies now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But not talking about that one right now. But also, I've had scripts though for shooting where I'm a guy with a gun shooting vampires and or zombies and shit like that. And so every time when I read one of those that can relate to it, I like that part. You know, like I'm not gonna fucking change the world or anything with my performance on it, but I like, you know, the fucking Bruce Willis and Die Hard kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah. And like, no, you could totally pull off the like a Roddy Piper-esque They Live kind of character that's like iconic and definitely good shit, man.
Hey, I got something that I saw. It's not a horror movie, but just something to talk about real quick.
Yeah.
On Netflix, there's a series called Painkillers.
Okay.
All right.
Ooh, okay.
I highly recommend it. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. We kind of binge watched it. It's 6 episodes, and it is the history of OxyContin.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and it's not a documentary; it's a docudrama, so it's acted out. Matthew Broderick plays the main guy, the Mr. Stratler that inherits Purdue Pharmacy, and they have this pill, a heroin pill, and he decides to fucking repackage it and make it friendlier, and they named it OxyContin, and it goes through the history of them getting that out there. And man, I'm realizing it changed my views because obviously I've had at least as many people close to me die of overdoses from narcotics, opioids. And I always think, you know, that we have choices and that, I put the blame on the abuser.
Yeah, sure.
That's just how I've always felt. Every circumstance is different, whatever. If you're lied to, boom, guess what? That's a whole nother factor. But when it comes to any of my friends that take a massive amount of pills night after night after night, and then one night it just mixes funny with the alcohol and fucking tons of shit they took, and then it kills them. I always think, like, how far can you go before you find the blame? It's in the abuser and not the drug itself. You know, we certainly wouldn't ban beer just because a lot of people abuse it, but with pills, they now it's harder as fuck to get it, and it can help a lot of people. And it's very hard to get narcotics because the doctors are cracked down on so hard they're afraid to prescribe it. So I've always felt that's been my position always, is that like the abusers, they're abusing it. They're abusing the system. You know, that's where the flaw is. And I don't blame the drug itself or the pharmaceuticals or whatever. This gives me a little bit different spin on it because so they name it. So now they name it OxyContin, which I remember when that came out, and they make. Well, first off, there's no limit, it seems like, on how strong they could make it. They can make it. They can make it like worth like 10 milligram oxycodones, which is just incredible in one pill. But anyway, I don't even know exactly what the number is, maybe more, but 130 milligram. Wow. Because people don't take that in consideration. The strength. They'll say like, he ate 4 pills. Well, was it a 5 milligram pill or a 130 milligram pill? Because those are way, way different.
You're right.
Who thinks about that? I don't know why, but people just don't. Anyway, in the movie, you get to see the pharmaceuticals branding this pill, and you get a different take because they wanted to make it seem friendlier. They get the FDA to say that it's safer than the other ones based on its rate of metabolism in your body bypassing a certain point. And it was really, really shady, but they get all these hot girls to push the drug to the doctor's offices to prescribe more because they're getting rich off of it and everyone's getting rich off it. And And they said before that they were prescribing the heroin to a 9 or 10 on a pain scale, and they said everyone could benefit from this. What about people that have 3 or 4? They have a lot of pain too. If it's a 3 or 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, this could help them. Boom. So when you look at it, and they tried to make it like friendlier and tried to get it out there, all of a sudden, it's like, wow, I guess now I could see, deception is one thing. And that's what, I mean, not to ruin anything, but I mean, that's what they're looking at is misbranding and mislabeling at the end, which if they do that and put non-truth out there, and if you can prove that they knew it was more dangerous and they hid information, then you're talking about, legal technicalities that could really make someone culpable of some criminality. But otherwise, I always think, like in a free society, we should have the options to get what we need / want, at least to an extent, and an extent that we might not all agree upon. But it's called Painkillers, and it's really good.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, and people I didn't mention, but of course people are dropping dead left and right during the movie, overdosing on it, partying on it, sniffing it. It doesn't say to do that on the label,
Right. You're taking your own liberties.
It starts out as a 12-hour pill that you can take just twice a day. And then, people are taking handfuls and snorting it. But anyway, boom. And I got to watch Getting Gotti. I didn't know about that till.
Is that a documentary or is that?
It's a 3-part series. It's made by the same people that made Fear City, which was really good.
Yeah. Oh, Fear City. I saw most of that. Yeah, it was good. Mm-hmm. Where that was in New York, where they busted all the New York mobs. Was that? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Did you ever see the movie Thank You for Smoking too with Aaron Eckhart?
Yeah, long time ago.
That was a really good one too, where they
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
all the deception about cigarette smoking and all that stuff. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it might be one-sided, but at least it's nonfiction enough to where I feel like we're learning some of the history.
Right. Yeah.
Even though someone could probably do an opposite take on a lot of the stuff, but we weren't there, so at least we can hear about it.
Right. Exactly. Well, cool. Let's see what we got here coming up next. Yeah. Okay. Just back to AW. Did you get to do anything outside in the city? I know you were probably just mostly there and then out, basically, huh?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we went to Luke Hawk's wedding, and
correct.
So
yes.
So that was Monday. So then I had to fly back home Tuesday, and then fly out Tuesday and to Philly, and then I just slept and got a lot of rest. And then Wednesday was the show, and then boom, back home on Thursday.
Back on Thursday. Did you get to run into Jeff Jarrett, Karen, and Cody?
Not Cody, but I saw Jeff, and it was cool because it was Cody's birthday, and so he showed me some. Someone showed me some pictures of him celebrating and stuff. He's 17 years old. I didn't know that.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah. It's and Katie always says this too. It's so awesome that he's such a big wrestling fan, and like as Katie put it, all 3 of his parents are wrestlers.
Right? How crazy is that?
Yeah. Not that Karen is, but she's a wrestling personality, and it's just it is cool that he's like so into it when he's that close to it.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. He's a great kid too. It's anytime you see him, it's cool. Happy birthday, Cody. Today too, today too, as we record a couple of days ago too, Jeff Jarrett is celebrating, I think it's 6 years of sobriety. So he posted that on Instagram today.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Congratulations, Jeff.
Yeah. So pretty cool there. Pretty big week for the Jarretts. So
awesome.
I'll follow up. So you ran into Ric Flair. Did you guys exchange words? And so you were caught off guard that he was there, huh?
Yeah, I just said, dude, what are you doing here? And he said, hey, I'm going to work, man. And we just laughed. And I said, do they know you're here, the crowd? And he said, no, he's surprised and he's coming out the next segment. And I was like, awesome, man. That's fucking cool. I I love Philly, and that's so awesome that we're giving them like such an awesome show with big things like that. And I watched behind the curtain until I could see the Philly's reaction to Ric Flair coming out, because I just thought that was a really cool, unexpected moment.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. And like to see him go out there with Sting, and Philadelphia is a big, like, kind of like Flair country area too. Like a lot of Philly people love Flair, so it was very neat aspect that I did not expect seeing it too. So pretty awesome. Did you get to interact with Sting too? See him
just hi, what up? Put my fingers in his eyes.
Good luck tonight. Happy retirement.
Yeah.
Okay, I made a list so I didn't forget anybody. Christian, did you run into him?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Same thing.
Yep. Poked him in the eyes. He cut a hell of a heel promo on Flair too, by the way. That was fucking holy shit. That was like, I don't know if you saw any of it, but he was doing some quality work. Doing some good work there. How about Adam Copeland, Edge? Did you see him?
Yeah, I did. Gave him. We had a big hug.
Nice.
We had a big hug. I don't know why, but I always remember like one time after I don't know why we hadn't seen each other in a while or whatever, but I was at a show where Edge was at. Must have been WWE, like way back in the day, like 2005 or 6 or whatever. It was a long time ago. But anyway, I just remember like one time, we hugged each other, and it was just like a really deep, like we both got each other in like really deep in there, and it was just like a really tight embrace, and it was a little extra long, and then we both, when we let go, we just looked at each other, and Edge was like, that was a great hug. And ever since then, I always think about that every time I see him. I always think like, hey, I'm gonna try and give him a big hug again.
Just hold it as long as you can.
I used to be really awkward about that, but I think it had a lot to do with having a super insecure wife too. Not that she would care about me hugging the dudes, but of course she would with the girls. And if I'm gonna hug the dudes, I'm gonna hug the girls. But
right, exactly.
Because the boys. I don't know if I can blame that all on her or not, or me just being weird. But overall, I think even hugging and kissing my parents, I think it feels like I had to be way into my adulthood before I was even comfortable doing that, compared to a lot of other friendlier, touchier people.
Well, yeah, instinctively too. If you're used to oh my god, what is the evil ex gonna say? I know too from being in past relationships. It's just oh my god, you're thinking about that shit. I automatically sometimes.
Right, yeah. No, I know people. That's people's norm. They deal with it. I'm so glad I don't have to anymore. But I see things on Instagram where there was a dude and his girl, and then a really hot girl just sat beside him, and he didn't even do anything. She just sat beside him, and automatically the wife was got all bitch and got up and walked off, and he's chasing after her honey, and she's pushing him. And all she can say is, I know you'd rather be with that, and oh my God, I can't believe that used to be my norm, because it really just took away from life's quality, just my whole vibe, and everyone knows and tells me that my vibe is so much different now. And so that's obvious. And by the way, so I'm at Luke's wedding and outside smoking, me and Katie catching a little buzz, and Luke came out, and this was the night before at the party or whatever. And he's just saying, hey, I really appreciate everything. You don't have to take the pictures with everyone. You can run out. You can run if you want. I know everyone's probably bothering you. And I'm like, all right, they wanted a picture with me, right? That's cool. He said, oh, man, I know, but I appreciate it. Katie said, we understand that Rob doesn't have the most, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said doesn't have the most inviting vibe to him. And Luke was like, oh, you think so? And I was almost offended, hey, what?
I'm here.
Yeah, and I'm what? And later on, I said to her, when you said that to Luke, whatever you said, I just want to make sure I translated that right. You were saying that I don't know. I think you said that I don't give off like a welcoming kind of vibe or something, and she said you She said, you just seem like you're content by yourself and that you're not interested in small talk or mingling. And then I was like, oh, well, that is how I feel.
That's true.
Then all of a sudden I wasn't offended. And I was like, well, that's cool. I guess I give the proper vibe off, because I mean that is true. I mean, if someone talks to me, then of course, I pick up the energy, like, hey, of course we can do a picture. But yeah, I mean, I'm the worst at mingling. I don't want to do that, and I realize that is a lot of what a wedding party is. The two families getting together, friends, and they want everyone to mingle so that everyone becomes one big group. And I get it, they want that, but you're sitting at the table, and then just randomly, like a couple strangers next to you are like, "So where are you guys from?" And then it's just like,
oh no.
Please. No, I mean, it's, I don't know. I mentioned this one time on one of my YouTube videos talking about, I didn't explain it like I just did. I just mentioned something about someone talking to me if I'm alone at a bar, and it's saying I probably don't want to talk to them anyway. And somebody put up the time code on there, look what he said here. And he said, how douchey. And I thought, okay, I guess. I mean, I'm okay with that if that's what it is. It's like I am content by myself. I don't want to mingle, and I don't want to talk about myself, and I really don't need to know anything about this person. So that's happened a couple of times where I was like, hey, what do you mean by that? And then I was like, okay, yeah, that is how I feel.
You know what? You're there. Yeah, it is okay.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing with the list, did you get to see Big Show, Paul White?
No.
Okay. I never brought him up. This is an interesting one. Did you ever interact with the MJF?
Just boop, hello.
Okay, boop, little that.
Yeah, just shook his hand, hello, a couple times. Yeah, he's cool. I don't know him. I like his vibe. Saw Mark Henry, talked to him for
nice.
a while. Had fun joking around with him.
Mark's great. Now, how about the Young Bucks? Did you run into the Young Bucks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but same thing. Mostly just saying hello.
Mostly all that stuff. Okay. You mentioned your first time that when you were at AEW, Sammy Guevara came up to you. Did any other like young talent or guys or gals have the guts to approach you or anything like that and introduce you?
I don't think so. And actually, like, take a picture. Like, one guy did the other night on Wednesday, but I don't think he was a wrestler, but he was backstage. So I was kind of twisted about it because being, the nice guy that I am, my first thought is like, sure, and then I'm thinking like, but we're in the back. If this guy's a building guy or something, like, it's not, I don't want to start a precedent because it's not cool for someone backstage. At least it didn't used to be. I don't know if anyone cares, but while people are back there doing business, you don't want to have to be like taking pictures and smiling and shit, but whatever, you know what I mean? It used to be policy, as I think you can imagine, or anybody can imagine, no different at any other kind of show, but it's quicker to just fucking take the picture than to even say no. So it's like, sure, don't know who he was, but no, everyone's really cool, but I don't think anyone has gone as far as asking me for not that I can remember anyway, for a photo. I don't think so.
Did any you're probably mostly focused on your match and stuff. Did you get to catch anything besides Flair, anything like that stood out to you while you were there?
A little bit. I saw a little bit of the Hardy Boys and Young Bucks 6-man match.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. They did a really good job of that one. So good dynamic. Fun to see Jeff and Matt in there always. So
yeah.
Absolutely.
I saw them a bunch saw them at the hotel on the way in and on the way out, and ran into them a bunch of times. So that's always cool. I like the Hardy Boys.
Yeah, they're great. They're great dudes. Yeah. Tony Khan, did you get to say hi and interact with him?
Absolutely.
Good. He gave you good feedback on the match, everything like that?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, of course. He was very happy with it. And right after the match, he was like, Rob, you did great. And I was like, oh, thanks. And he had to like push me away. And I was like, oh, I'm trying to get you all sweaty. Like, no, but that's fine. You did great. And
Like, come on, bring it in, bring it in.
I think I got a hug earlier though. I don't know.
Yeah.
He didn't hug me at first when I met him, but I might have been sweaty then too. I remember I was waiting for it just because, like, that day or something, I had seen a video about it or someone saying that that he hugs a lot, and he told me that someone broke his rib hugging him one time.
Really?
Yeah, in a conversation, he told me that. Yeah, broken ribs and bruised ribs both hurt so bad. I mean, that's one of the top pains that I've been through, and I'd have to think about maybe my top 3 or so, but that would be up there because it hurts just to fucking breathe, and then every position hurts. You got to try to take your weight off of your rib cage, which is basically the frame of your body. Yeah. So last time I broke my rib in a match in Qatar, and I just stayed in bed the whole next day. I was supposed to go to some horse races with the royal family and some shit. And I couldn't even talk, I was just like, I'm not gonna make it. It hurt so bad just to talk. And it was just like so much pain. I just talked about this to you, didn't I?
No, you broke it.
No?
No.
Okay. I was telling someone about it. Anyway, on the plane ride the whole way home, because I was breathing so loudly and it didn't sound good, the flight attendants, at least 3 different ones, came by and they would say, "Sir, are you okay?" And each time I would say, "No,
I'm fucking hurt."
And then they wouldn't know what to do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They would be lost. They wouldn't know what to do. And if they said, "Is there anything I can do?" I'd say, give me some alcohol. I can't remember what I was drinking, but sometimes that's the answer when it's really bad for me, is to fucking drug myself through it. And what was I drinking? I don't think I was drinking champagne yet. That's been my drink for the last several months. But now when I went to Qatar, who knows? Anyway, ouch. But boom.
You needed Jerry Lynn to feed you cereal that time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so long to heal too, but it depends on your lifestyle, because when you're wrestling every night, sometimes it'll never heal. And what could take 6 to 8 weeks will take fucking, months, because you're re-hurting yourself every night. So that's one of the fun things about doing this as a full-time career. Changing the standards up.
Yeah. That's it.
Doctor will be like, "What? That didn't heal yet?" Like, "Oh, it's trying. I just re-break it every fucking night." So
this kind of happens.
I'll get some time off coming up. Sure.
Yeah. All right, I got to ask too. So the door's open for AEW still. Everything's there's still the engagement there going on.
Of course. Everyone's super cool there. And now that I got a little bit of a situation as far as teaming up with Hook, I feel like there's more reason than ever to have me there. So I feel good about that, as opposed to I don't expect to ever hear from them again.
There you go. How about that? Any tag team name ideas for you and Hook?
I almost wish I'd looked this up to give the guy credit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stealing it, and it's so good. I would actually probably want to use it.
Yeah.
And anyway, I had people on social media threw out some ideas and stuff, and the one that I fucking loved and that stuck with me. You ready for it?
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
Tag team name: RVD and Hook. Ready? Smoke and Choke.
Oh, yes. That's great.
Smoke and Choke.
Smoke and Choke. Oh, that's perfect. Heck yeah. I like it, Rob.
Thanks, random, anonymous suggestion.
Maybe I'll try to find them and give them credit or something.
Cool.
I'll try to find it.
Do that.
Yeah. Smoke and Choke. Hell yeah. All right. Something else in the world of wrestling that occurred, Rob. I don't know if you saw it, but TNA Wrestling is coming back. They're rebranding at the beginning of January for their Hard to Kill pay-per-view. They will no longer be Impact. They will be TNA Wrestling again. So, yes. Do you think that's probably a Impact? We've talked about it. It was kind of wild because we did talk about it last week too, and how they always kept coming back and stuff like that. Think the TNA Wrestling, the brand, is a good way to kind of move forward with something like that.
With what?
With wrestling and like for their identity to go back to the TNA brand. Is that probably a good? Would you think that's a pretty good marketing move in certain ways?
I don't know what went into their decision to do it. I don't have that information, and without that insight, it could have been a good or bad business decision. They could have moved properties, intellectual properties. They could have moved from one LLC to another for who knows what reason. Maybe they got new investors. I have no idea. But just based on that question, going back to TNA Wrestling from Impact Wrestling, this is just my opinion. I'm not trying to talk shit at anybody, but I don't see that as making that big of a difference.
Mm-hmm. I think too, and you know what? Jeff said something to this effect. Now I'm paraphrasing because I didn't actually hear the podcast, but Jeff on his podcast said it's really going to depend on how they execute it all. Like it's going to be the follow up with it. If they do stuff that is refreshing and kind of maybe repackages it in certain ways, but it's going to be the execution of how you move forward with the brand to make it stand out.
Well, to me, it doesn't sound like earth-shattering news. I think that people call Impact Wrestling TNA anyway in conversation. I think it's almost replaceable as far as like
interchangeable in certain ways.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, thank you. That's a good one. And yeah, I mean, that's enough said. I just don't think that on that basis alone, I don't think that just by changing the name to TNA Wrestling, that alone is going to add a lot of value or any value, in my opinion, being an outsider, to the company on its own. I don't see it adding value to it. But if it's along with some other plan, which I'm sure it probably is, then they probably got, some potentially good ideas, and more power to them.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing it. I know from a fan perspective, like TNA, I was always like, oh my God, why don't they change the fucking name? Because it's like, what does TNA even mean? Total nonstop action. That's ridiculous. I'm just trying to think like, you come up with a better name. And then they do change it. But then the certain nostalgic aspect of me is like, I kind of liked the TNA era of certain aspects of things. And so there's that little bit of that, but you kind of need to make more of it too moving forward.
I'll go a little bit further. Like, I don't know if anyone has studied the numbers to tell me if I'm wrong about this, but as far as I've known the company, I'm not under the understanding that they've grown much, or that they really care to or need to. I started there 2010 and had a 3-year deal. Whole time I was there, it seemed like after the first few weeks, they were always rumored to be going out of business, and it's not somebody to call me. I just want to warn you, like they're definitely not going to be around by next week, from what I'm reading, and they just kept on going, kept on plugging along. I used to talk to Mike Weber, the producer, we'd talk about ideas and things, and then they would go nowhere, and I decided that they really didn't care because the house shows all seem to get the same, like 900-ish people, and they didn't seem to really put anything more into it. And sometimes, and we all have these stories where I went to a gym across the street from the arena, and they're like, RVD, what are you doing here? And that was when we started going on the road.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't even know? Like, we're right across at the Civic Center, and they didn't even bring a poster by or what? Anyway, there was a lot of reasons that I put together to tell me way back in the day that I am under the understanding that somehow they're content with what they're doing and they don't need to definitely don't need to try to compete with the bigger groups. And I don't think maybe that they even need to grow. I used to think back in the day, because of rumors that I heard, that maybe Dixie's dad was funding it. I don't know, maybe it was a write-off for the big oil company or some shit. There was different things that were said to me. There was some of the characters in the office I was told were there strictly for espionage, to keep it from growing and to keep it just at the same some level. Some specific guys that were running it at that time. And I thought, hey, that seems as possible as anything else at the time. But now that it's this much later and I've already done like a whole nother run with them in 2019 and 20 or 20 and 21, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I have no reason to think anything different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say I used to cover it for WrestleZone on a consistent basis every week. And the product overall is pretty solid. I think that, you know, they have good storylines, good continuities. It keeps up with it every week. But then, you know, I think the issue is you just see the significant difference in, like, you know, what the venues are in comparison to, you know, what you'll see on WWE or now AEW and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's a matter of just rebranding and making it mean something, I think, moving forward. Scott Moore as a booker and stuff like that, how do you think of him overall? Your experience with Scott and everything?
Man, I've known Scott so long. I wrestled him one time in, I think it was in Indianapolis, like way back. Like, I don't even know if it was ECW or before ECW. It was like,
really?
Yeah. Rip Rogers and Sabu were both had they both were booking for this company, and the locker room was literally split down the middle with like towels hanging from the ceiling or something. And Rip had his guys and Sabu had his guys. And they were both helping the guy from Louisville, Kentucky, Mike Samples, it seems like. Anyway, that was so long ago. Scott, I don't know. I mean, you know, he's been good to me. I don't know him enough to know if he what to attribute towards him as far as like what's done on the show. I don't know like what's his ideas from that, you know. Mm-hmm. The only talk I remember having with him really was when they hired me for the last run. You know, he was telling me what they're looking for, and even at the time, you know, like my back was bothering me and stuff, and he was like, "No, we want you to be like the Sting, you know, where we have like the big name, and then this and that." And then even when they turned me heel, they were saying, you know, I don't have to do all the moves and stuff now that I'm a heel. I don't have to, you know, go as extreme and shit. But I didn't really know how to change that up. But
yeah.
Outside of that, though, I don't know how he felt ever about anything, you know, like. Didn't talk to me about when they let me go. Every time at the end of the show, last time I never had like a long deal. It was always per show. So at the end, I would always think I was saying bye for good, because I never felt like they were making their money off of me. Whatever they were doing with me, I always felt like, well, I know what they're paying me. It don't seem like they're building the show around me, you know, especially they got me putting over some of these young guys and like, what? Like, what am I doing here? And I'd be like, well, all right, Scott, you know, thanks. And he'd be like, all right, see you next month. And I'd be like, really? Oh, okay, cool. You know,
all right.
Put it on the schedule. And it was like that. And then, you know, one time then it was like, all right, yeah, you know, we're good. And then like, I have no idea how anybody felt about that, you know, just me and Katie were like, all right, you know, like they just started doing something, giving me and Katie our own talk show, whatever. And then boom. And then they were like, yeah, writers don't really have anything else for you. And Like, all right, that's cool. I'm surprised, you guys went this far, but that's the closest I've been though to being let go like anywhere, because everything else has been me walking out.
Yeah,
So
being done and stuff.
yeah, either being done, yeah, or me quitting if not finishing the time thing. Everything I can think of. But anyway, but of course I was fine with it, and I was like, and D'Lo was like, "Hey, Rob, he goes, this is what he said. He goes, Rob, call me. That's what he said.
Yeah,
I didn't call him.
didn't call. Well, there we go.
What's there to talk about? I'm done.
Yeah, right.
But when I see Scott, he's someone to say, "Hey, what up?"
Boop him and be nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a funny dude, man. I met him backstage at one of the ad-free show events, and he was sharing some stories and cracking everybody. He's pretty good at impressions too, from what I remember. But yeah, and also he was behind the scenes at Ric Flair's last match. He's a cool dude. I like him, and I do overall like when I get to check out Impact. I do like it, and Alex Shelley's the world champ right now, so that's pretty cool. And cool. He's having a pretty good run, so it's neat stuff.
From the Machine Gun.
Yep.
Machine Gun, Motor City Machine Guns.
There you go, Motor City Machine Gun. Alex is the world champ, and then Chris Sabin's the X Division champion. So it's kind of neat. And the fact that they're going back to TNA, it's kind of serendipitous for that. So kind of cool.
Yeah, they paid a lot of dues there. They worked their ass off there for a long time. So very cool.
Very, very fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was I gonna say? Something else about Scott? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever I was gonna say, period.
There you go.
I don't remember. It's gone. As my mom would say, it must not have been important.
Must not have been that important then.
Yeah.
Well, he's got Tommy Dreamer backstage too, and so you know what he's capable of, so that certainly helps. I'm sure a lot of what his mindset or philosophy is execute on television stuff. Plus, Bubba's back there too. He's in the thick of and everything. Yeah, so it seems like pointing in the right direction. I'm intrigued to see how it goes once the year turns, so to speak.
Oh, that's what I was going to say about Scott. One thing I'll say about him is I do believe that he loves the business.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I read the shows about him, like from everything he's done and how long he's done it, and there's no question about that. So that's a compliment behind closed doors. For us, we usually take it as a compliment. If someone in the business says that about someone else, that I know this person really loves the business, then it's like it's saying something, that person's heart is in the right place, and as opposed to other people that are just in it for themselves and don't care if they're killing the business if they can make $1.
Yeah, they have a well-being thought overall of the business for it.
Right?
Yeah, sweet, man. Cool. Well, I want to see how long this takes us, and depending on how it does, we'll either wrap it up or I'll do a couple of Ask RVDs. But this is what I wanted to bring up. I thought this was really interesting. I actually wrote about this today on SEScoops.com. So you did the Headstrong documentary, and Jon Moxley of AEW happened to have a concussion probably about, I want to say, a little over a month ago, and it was a mild one. But he spoke with the news website. It might be in paper, I don't know, but the Messenger.
In paper?
Might be a newspaper. Paper?
I always ask that when someone says, I don't know. It's I humor myself when I say that. I don't know if it's that. I always ask right away, and that's one of those jokes people don't get, and they think I'm weird.
I appreciate it. But Jon Moxley, he's got a new vision for concussion protocol in pro wrestling. And I wanted to get your take on this, Rob. So he was talking about in an exclusive interview with the Messenger. Moxley opened up about his incident of getting concussed. He said, "I just kept getting progressively." This was during the match. He's like, "I just kept getting progressively more lost and couldn't figure out where the fuck I was. Then I had this moment of clarity, like, oh fuck, I'm fucked up. I got to get the fuck out of here." And so then his suggestion almost is like he thinks that there should be almost like an independent party at ringside Like a lot of times, what doctors, what other sports do, like football, they have an independent doctor check for concussions and stuff like that. But this is his take, and I wanted your thoughts. Maybe a really experienced wrestler and a really experienced doctor who are trained to see signs of that shit are watching on a separate feed. So maybe even behind the scenes at a monitor or something. Even if they have a doctor close to ringside, what if the guy fucking spills outside the ring? He doesn't see that. The doctor and the wrestler are completely untethered to the creative portion of it. He said they have no idea nor any interest in what the story is, who wins, who loses, or how long it's supposed to go. And then Moxley also says having a wrestler at ringside could tell the independent doctor what could be a wrestling thing and what could be legitimate. And so then he says as soon as the doctor sees a sign of someone being concussed, he just hits the effing red button. Moxley said, boom, this is over. No matter how much time is left, no matter how much, if it's on live TV, it's just over. You figure it out from there. What do you think of that kind of, Rob? Having an independent party almost looking at it. Where would your experience and your knowledge and doing the documentary and everything like that, what's your take on
that? I'm not against it. I really don't know if it's that necessary. I don't know if concussions are happening that often now. And I know that the chair shots to the head and certain extreme styles have been tailored to be a little safer for the long term. And because of that, I don't know if there's statistics to back up the necessity of something like this. I also, outside of the doctor maybe being under WWE umbrella, I don't know that the situation was that much different. When I did my return to WWE in Philadelphia, 2014, or 13. I guess it was 13.
I think it was 13.
So they told me before the show some things have changed now. You can't bleed. If you get busted open during the match, they stop the match, or you get out of there. You stop the match. They might continue, and you just roll the fuck out. The referee, or not the ref, the doctor, legit doctor, who they didn't used to have before there, will check you out. If he can get you to stop bleeding, you're back in. If you can't get it to stop, then you're done with the match. And I was like, wow, that's different, for our business. I went out there, boom, I think it was Sheamus, hit me with the ladder, busted me open. They were like, boom, go see the doctor. I was like, no, this is my big fucking return, like they've been, and that was like, they built that return so huge with all the trailers weeks before, like the whole damn show was coming back, and I knew I was going to give them exactly what they were advertising and shit, and then when the doctor was like messing with the, trying to see if you get it to stop and shit, and I was just like, oh my God, what if they pull me from the match and I'm done right now? Like I'm not down with this new style of wrestling. But he said, yeah, you're okay or whatever. I rolled back in the ring and I continued. So doesn't sound that much different, although that doctor has been accused by some of being biased towards the company's agenda, which don't know. I'm not saying that's true, but outside of that, it doesn't sound that different. But that's my thoughts on it, dude. I don't know, that it's that different. I don't know that it's necessary. I don't know how often these concussions are happening. I think if you're doing death matches and you're hitting each other with the set of stairs with barbed wire wrapped around it and light bulbs, then maybe you got a better chance of getting a concussion. Maybe for those matches, especially, you might want to have somebody like that around.
So you're saying overall, like from the wrestling perspective, even the wild kind of moves that they're constantly doing, and it's going so fast paced, a lot more fast paced and everything. And there not a whole lot of head trauma can necessarily happens, even though it might look that way to the layman's eye, like nowadays.
Like I say, they would have to do a test and get some statistics on that, Did I get a concussion when I wrestled the other night on AEW? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Do I think the guys that I wrestled got a concussion? No. I'm sure of it. Do I think Hook got one? No. So there's 4 guys right there that all of us can say no, just like on a normal night, we didn't get it, so it's not something that is just part of a normal night anymore. It's something that's more of an emergency kind of thing, like a freakish accident that can happen as a cause of what we're doing out there. And the chances of that happening are increased or decreased depending on what the fuck we're doing in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you're pretty right too. I think for the most part, it doesn't seem like concussions happen too often. From what I hear, the one that really stands out significantly is like Adam Hangman Page got one on a bad DDT, I think, from Moxley once, and then Adam Cole got hurt real bad from a concussion. And
it probably happens more than is reported, like when I went with my numbers, in the movie Headstrong. I said I've had a couple of 100. Though that's self-diagnosed. I'm saying every time my bell got rung, I've only had, I think, 2 diagnosed actually. But for me, getting my bell rung, having my senses off to where things are spinning or slow motion or whatever, that shit probably happens more than is reported, although it's reported now a lot more than it's not, because that was an old school thing. And back in the day, it was part of the job getting concussed. Sometimes, like I've said this a lot, but if I wrestled Balls Mahoney, I would plan on it. I'd plan on getting my bell rung during the match by that chair shot. And that was cool to me. Like, I wanted everyone way up in the top of the 400 people arena bleachers. I wanted them to hear that chair shot and to know that, we weren't out there playing. And that was all for the protection of the business and for the expression of the business. And I wanted everyone in the crowd and other wrestlers to know that they wouldn't even be able to take that chair shot. That's, that was what was behind the passion for me, was like, lay it in there, motherfucker. Let me show how tough I am. Whack. And I would know I'm going to see birds, twerping for a couple seconds back in the day. I don't think that's part of the deal anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a little bit, at least more heavily monitored and stuff like that. And, it's just, it's people know that what happens, the repercussions.
We didn't know.
Didn't know. Fans, listeners, viewers, if you're watching, here it is right here, RVD Headstrong. I have it. I bought it. I bought it a while back, even before we started the podcast. So check it out. It's good stuff. Available on Amazon, I believe, still too, right, Rob? I think it is, right?
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. It's got a goofy picture. I mean, I have no idea how to take it off, but if you go to Amazon Prime and you look up Headstrong, you'll see me going,
what?
Yeah. I asked Joe Clark, my partner on this, like, hey, can you do something about that? Change that image? Like, how's that going to entice people to want to fucking rent the movie?
Trust that guy. Right
there. Yeah. I have no idea how to change it. If anybody knows, comment below.
Comment below on the YouTube.
That fucking like button.
Hit that. Yeah, hit the like button. Subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And hey, if you're listening too on iTunes or Spotify, give us a good old rating. I've seen we got a couple of them, so keep those cooking. That definitely helps. We want to get those audio numbers cooking real good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob, we'll do a couple Asks RVDs and then we'll wrap it up. How's that sound?
Swell.
Okay, cool. I was going to do a spotlight, but I want to give this guy justice. It was appropriate for the Halloween season, but we're going to wait. All right. Let's see. Which one do I want to start with here? Here we go. Let's try this one. Dread asks, do you have the original ECW TV title that you held? Do you have the original TV title, Rob?
Absolutely, I do.
How about that? Pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
Still looks good?
It's beat up, and I've thought about getting it like reconditioned and shiny, but then that would take away from the hardcore history of it,
Yeah.
I'll
Like
maybe I'll bring it on next week on the show. I mean, it's in my action figure room
oh,
on display, so I feel like I've shown it, but I was just talking to someone, my agent
mm-hmm.
that booked me. I already got like 11 or 12 shots next year already.
Oh shit.
Most signings, 1 or 2 matches, but until recently, I was like, don't bother me. But now it's like, all right, it's coming up. And now I'm looking at my calendar and I'm like, I got to check and see if I'm available on that date. But one of them that I got booked today in New York City in Queens, there's this comic store that we go to. I've been there a few times. The fuck's it called? We'll talk about it when the time is up. But he's having ECW Day.
Ooh.
And my dude was like, why don't you bring that ECW belt? And I was like, yeah, I should bring it there for sure, because other wrestlers will be there for different hours throughout the day, ECW guys, and that's probably the fans that we will aim for to draw their wrestling universe, I think it's called, or
Oh, okay.
something like that.
Huh. Nice.
Wrestling, yeah. Anyway, that's I don't even know when that is. I think that was March. I don't know. But
Okay.
we'll get to that when we get to that.
Nice. Queens is. I like Queens. I've only been there once, but I liked it. Oh, this is a good one. Joey Brazil, Mr. Joseph Anthony asks, "You're such a good promo. Why didn't you fight for more promo time in WWE? You are a good promo, Rob. I think that's really underrated about you, and I think you've been able to show that you can cut a damn good promo. No pun intended."
So maybe I'm too passive, at least for this business to be taken care of, but I hate fighting for what I think should be given to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've told some stories about when I was in WWE, and then I remember Bruce Pritchard telling me, like, hey, John Cena's going to be making this movie Marine coming up, and there's a opening for you to be in, like really, get up there in that main event. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm saying, that's a good chance for you to, really capitalize. And I was offended. I was like, what are you telling me I should try harder? I should work harder out there? And he was like, no, I'm not saying that. Okay, because like I work my ass off and the fans know it. And I was offended. And I was like, are you telling me I need to kiss ass? And he was like, no, you just whatever you can do to allow that to happen. There might be some things working against you could take care of. And I felt like at the time, in a stubborn way, like, you know what, this is business. You hired me. You pay me this much money per year. If you're going to make your money back out of me, it seems like you would place me accordingly on the shows, do the right thing with me. But it doesn't work that easy, because part of your placement depends on your passion and things like that, where there's all kinds of variables that aren't decided in advance. And so you do fight for it. I always hated that. I hated fighting for stage space. Whenever all the boys come out at the top of the ramp and they're standing there, always, man, the producers would put me in front. And because all the boys are so much more hungry than me, before we even roll the camera, while we're just out there standing talking, people end up like not even noticing they're doing, I guess, because some of them that I did call out were like, did I do that? But they end up working their way in front of me, so that by the time that we're actually ready to shoot, I'm like back there, like
hey.
And I was a bigger star. And so they would try to put me in front. Sometimes they'd come by and pull me out again. Sure enough, because it takes another 10 minutes before we're ready to roll. Everyone's blah, 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 blah. They end up pushing me back. And I would let it happen because I didn't have that fight in me. I kind of resented that I should have to fight, which overall, I'm definitely not saying that's the right thing to do. Not for my career, but maybe for my peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good way to put it too. And like obviously you were over anyways. Do you think you would have benefited more if you had more promo time, or I mean, overall though, it's like you were good and you had a crowd reaction. You were still top star. So
I
you think you
never
really need?
thought that they really understood me,
Mm-hmm.
and even with my promos, for the most part, I didn't think that the writers understood me or the agents, except for Paul. But like when they would write something, a suggested script, I always was offended by it because I always thought, even though I'm open to change and make it mine, just that they would put this as a blueprint. I remember thinking, like, they think I'm an idiot. Like there was one thing with me and Seth Rollins where Seth says something about I used to grow up wanting to be like you or whatever, something, and then they had my response was, "Ooh, burn." Like that's what they had written down there.
What?
Maybe they just put that there for me to throw away and replace, but I would take it differently. I would take it with offense. Like they really want me to go out there and go, "Ooh, burn." Like I'm not gonna look like the biggest asshole. And so anyway, for that and many other reasons, but mostly reading suggested dialogue, especially for a long time when they thought I would only say dude or whatever or cool,
Yeah.
the one word things. I just always thought they don't get me, and I didn't know how to translate myself to them really any better than I did anyway.
Yeah. No, it's and going it from a scripted to where it's like, bullet points where the original, like a lot of it's, hey, go, just say this, get this point across, and then going to scripts and wrestling is, I don't know. It works for some, it worked for Kurt Angle, but it's like that's not everybody's bag either.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, it would give you the idea of the conversation, of the content and the body of it. And they were always like pretty good at giving you freedom to go ahead and make it yours, But I still just wasn't into it for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, imagine, I don't know, just imagine like and this is just anywhere in the business, all right? But just imagine you're your own hometown. You got family there, all your friends from high school, everyone's there to see you, right? Imagine that you're wrestling Kurt Angle, and then they tell you that you're gonna be tapping out to the ankle lock in 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine go do a promo and tell everyone to believe in you.
Yeah.
Convince them there's no way that you're gonna lose, because you're going into this prepared. You're going in with the hometown spirit. You're doing this for fucking Poughkeepsie, New York, or wherever the fuck we are. And imagine being, okay, you're just an actor now. Go. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're telling everyone, you can believe in me, guys. I'm gonna do this for all of us and for you. In the meantime, you're going, fuck, this sucks. I should leave. Why am I even here?
I'm gonna get out of here.
Well, that's part of it too that people probably don't even think of, and it's hard for me to really get into some of the promo ideas. It's hard for me to convince you that winning this Intercontinental Championship for the 4th time next Sunday means more to me than anything else in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a skill that you have to develop, to be able to sell tickets. That's a big part of it, but not my favorite part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you gotta like kind of, that's an aspect too. It's like, yeah, how much? Because it's cool to win it the first time, and it's like, hey, this is a road to something going on. But if it's like, okay, you're just getting the belt, we're giving you this for this run. It's like, okay, how do I make this feel that important if it's not really that
or whatever, getting in the ring with this guy, getting your hands on this guy because of what he's done to you, because you feel so insulted by him, or whatever the deal is. He robbed you last time, and it's so important to you that you're going to get him in the ring the way you want him next week, under your conditions, and you can't fucking wait. You're looking so forward to it, and you got to be able to turn that on and turn it off, and a lot of it's bullshit.
Yeah. Plain and simple. All right, here's an interesting one. Let's see. All right, Joey Fish, some effing 90.
By the way, a lot of that is what fans love doing. You know, that's their favorite part. They cut promos themselves. And then when they end up getting in the business, like, say, Mr. Kennedy, then boom, you can sound just like The Rock mixed with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you've probably been doing that, you know, having fun as a wrestling fan for years, entertaining your college friends or whatever he did before, you know.
Yeah. Like, well, it translate. That's the thing, too. It's like,
and Ric Flair, like, people love the Ric Flair promos. Like, every fan or half the boys probably did Ric Flair promos in the mirror, you know, before they were ever in the business, you know, and I didn't.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and you look at it too. It's like how many people copied off of one another back in the day, like from like Muhammad Ali took from Gorgeous George, and then everybody like Dusty and other people took from Muhammad Ali, and it's just like people. Just
Where do you draw the line between inspiration and plagiarism?
Right. Mm-hmm. How about that? All right. If you could have substituted another person to feel the wrath of the ECW fans in place of Cena at One Night Stand, who would you have wanted to see that get that type of heat? Is there somebody that stands out in that regard, Rob? Somebody that maybe epitomized WWE at that point in time.
Right. Well, I just, for the hell of it, let's just say The Rock. If I was in there with The Rock and I had that crowd that much behind me, you know, wanting all of us joined together as a conglomerate entity to beat The Rock that night for the hardcore spirit, then that would be a pretty cool victory to hold, wouldn't it?
100% it would. You know what? If you inserted him into that, I 100% believe that crowd would have been the same, or if not more energy, you know, that night.
Think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. Absolutely. Even if he came back, because The Rock was gone for like that. So
he could get heat though when he wanted heat, huh?
Oh yeah, he could get heat too. Yep, that's for sure. All right, we'll do two more here. Let's see. Speaking of ECW, if you had to pick 3 or 5 wrestlers, not 4 though, Rob, 3 or 5 from the current era of wrestling, who would you have felt could have lasted in the original ECW? I feel like someone like a Jon Moxley, who we just talked about, or Kevin Owens comes to mind. Anybody names that stand out, modern names that stand out to you that they're like, hey, they could have had a pretty decent run in the original ECW?
I'll go with those 2. Let's make it easy. And then, then I got to name one more, and then I answered his question.
And you answered your question. You made it.
Okay. Also, what was it? Kevin Owens and
Jon Moxley.
And who did Jon Moxley fight in the? Didn't he just have a death match, or
he had a big match with somebody recently? I mean, he fought like Ray Phoenix recently. Oh my God, he's been
match.
Not a death match. Somebody had. Oh, you know what? Daniel Bryan and Ricky Starks had a death match recently. Those were the 2 that had the death match.
Either one of those guys definitely could have been big stars in ECW. For real, like the crowd, I could see either one of them for different reasons getting good heat from the ECW crowd.
Hey, Ricky Starks would be somebody because like, he's such a good-looking guy, but you put him in that element, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I can't remember really having anybody like that, really. I mean, the closest thing I can kind of think of was we had that manager, Jason Knight, you know?
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Right, yeah, you know, not quite the same, but kind of a similar vibe as far as, you know, he was the handsome, I don't know, like I could see how the crowd would take him as if maybe his character in his mind thought he was Ricky Starr.
Yeah, absolutely, as I say. All right, one more. This is a weird one. I wanted to include this though. Boom. Clarence Alexander Pryor, who's a regular on RVD Twitter. He's like, what do you think of the Power Rangers after 30 years of the franchise? Rob, were you a Power Rangers watcher?
I never watched it regularly. I always appreciated what it was, and I met some of the Power Rangers doing autograph signings at conventions over the years. Outside of the Tokyo Dome Hotel, when you're looking out the window of the elevator, because there's a big glass, tall ass elevator, and you look down, there's a little amusement park there you can look at. And Sabu's wife, ex-wife, Hitomi, his Japanese wife that he had, she used to be a Power Ranger at a live show in that Tokyo Dome carnival.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah, when she was younger. So that's a pretty cool little piece of trivia history. They had a live Power Ranger show, and I don't know which one she was. She has told me, but I always thought they were cool. I mean, you know, what's not to like about them, because they're martial arts, they kick ass, and I just wasn't a regular watcher, so I don't know the characters and stuff like that.
They always change. They were teenagers, so I was a huge fan as a kid. Like 1993, I was like 7 years old. The Red Ranger, man, that was my guy. And they got rid of him. So, and then I was upset, and then I was done watching it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Good show. It was. I liked it, and it stood the test of time, because I think kids just the bright colors, martial arts, all that stuff. You throw it all in there.
Yeah.
Live comic book stuff. Cool, Rob. Well, hey, it is time. It is time to wrap it up. RVDology.
Oh,
how about that? Last week we talked about good and bad, and Rob, to be honest, it took me a while. I'm like, am I applying this to my week and thinking about it? Last night there was a Halloween parade that went on here in
Mark it if you got it.
Smoke it if you got it. Smoke it if you got it. And so
smoke and choke.
Smoke and choke. That's right, smoke and choke.
But don't choke.
But don't choke on it. Yeah, all right. So there was a Halloween parade that was going on, and I was going to go out there, but I was recording with the Road podcast, and by the time I got out, it was like 9:00. Anywho, so I go downtown, and I was like, well, I'll see if it's still going on. It's not. It's got a long ghost town in Bloomfield, Pittsburgh area. So I go into this bar. Who do I see but this absolutely hammered guy, like just plastered, doesn't know where he is, but he treats like I'm his best friend. Like, sees me, immediately wants a hug. I give him a hug. I don't know who the hell he is. And then he was like, hey, man, you want a drink? And I was like, sure, I'll take one. And so I'm sitting there, and he's explaining his laments to me and all that stuff. And I'm like, you know, just an ear to bend, basically, sitting there listening to him. And he kept saying over and over, like, all his troubles that he was going through. And he kept saying, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. And I was like, sure, yeah, man. You know, I don't know this guy from Sunday. He could be a good person, could not be a good person for all I know. But it definitely makes you think, and it made me think about it too, because, you know, everybody probably thinks they're a good person to an extent, you know, or justified in a certain way. You know what I mean? And, you know, this guy, whether he was a good person or a bad person, I would have my own judgment on that. But what he conveys to me, he believes he's a good person. So is he good? Is he not? It definitely made me consider this. And I was like, wow, this could apply to tomorrow. I was thinking about when we were recording. So that's my good and bad experience.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. You know, I've had two people tell me, Rob, I'm not a very good person. Yeah. And I'll always remember that. Like, that's etched in my brain. I remember thinking, like, how can someone really think that about themselves? What would it take in their memory? Like, you know, who did they fucking kill or whatever? And one of them is a wrestler that we all know that I'm not going to name. But when he told me that he's not a good person, and I'm just like, man, you know, I feel like I would pick up on that if this guy wasn't a good person. So whatever he did in his past that he's ashamed of, or is guilty of, whatever, his vibe now doesn't reflect that. And, you know, it's similar to like with mobsters. Every mobster now has like a YouTube show. There's so many. And so you get a lot of them that are talking. Most of them, in fact, I think everybody except for Joey Merlino has cooperated. They flipped, made a deal with the government so that they're free, they're out. That's why they're not in prison. And then they're doing YouTube shows, and I watch a lot of them. I find them fascinating. Joey Merlino just did his time, and he's got his own show, and he's still like he never turned his back on his way of life or anything. So that's kind of amazing to me. But his show is a lot about sports, which I don't have an interest in. But he touches, of course, on the lifestyle a lot. But he was the boss of the Philly mob for a long time during the wars, the Nicky Scarfo and John Stanfa wars, and then it was John Stanfa fucking Merlino wars. And anyway, that's pretty fascinating for me. But anyway, what I wanted to get to, I hear a lot of them talk, and when they talk about other mobsters, so often they refer to them as like, he's a good guy, Yeah. Even if they flipped and they've denounced the life and they say, I was wrong and killing's wrong, and now I just want to obey the law, they still refer to their peer murderers as good guys. And that's always kind of fascinating, which is actually how the name Goodfellas got its name, from them just saying, yeah, he's a good fella. But
yeah, he's a good fella.
Yeah, but they all do that, though. They'd be talking about, yeah, so-and-so, I knew him, man. He was a good guy. To them, a good guy, Matt, you could count on him. You could trust him. He's not going to crack. He's not going to tell on you. Or it could mean, he really believes in the life, just like I said before about DeMora saying he loves the business. That would be a mobster saying, hey, this guy's all about the life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So how about that? Cool. Well, what do you got cooking for us this week?
So what I want to put out there today, and I know this is going to help a lot of people. I don't know why, but I just feel really good about it. It's been a good vibe kind of day, really, for me. And hopefully I'm sharing that with everybody else. I want to talk about options, because I believe that you always have options. And I don't think everybody realizes that, but you might not like the options, but you pretty much always have options. Even the guy that says, hey, he told me to give him the money or he's going to kill my family. I mean, what choice did I have? Well, you could have given him the money or you could have not given him the money. You still had the choice, right? Some people use that as an scapegoat, as if they absolutely didn't have a choice. And, there's times like that. Like, for instance, one time I was in WWE and the fucking schedule has been so monotonous. I mean, it was really hard to bear through doing so many days in a row on the road with just a few hours break in between to go home, do laundry, get back on the road. It was a lot. And it was more stressful with the work environment being as political as it was. And like some of the guys, I get tired of being around them, whatever. I got 10 days coming up where I'm off for Christmas. I'm going to make it these last 8 weeks to that 10-day break. I can do this. Boom, 7 weeks. Boom, 6 weeks. Fuck yeah, this is coming up. We get a few weeks away from this break that's been my main source of motivation to go from town to town, renting a car every day, catching a flight every day, checking in and out of a hotel every day. Johnny Ace calls a meeting with the talent and says that during this break for Christmas that we're going to be going overseas to visit the troops. And I did not take that as good news. I was looking forward to my day off. And he said, this is, I think they handed out a piece of paper or something on it, but somewhere it said voluntary. And Johnny Ace, after he gave the speech and stuff, he went around, and I don't remember if he had people individually, signing up for it or whatever. But anyway, I just made it clear when I talked to him, I was like, I won't be going on that, just to let you know. And Johnny said, well, it says it's voluntary, but they really don't. They really want you to go, though. They expect you to go. And I'm like, I don't expect I'll be there, so they can change their expectations. And he's like, it might be a problem if you don't go. And I'm like, it might be a problem if you think I'm going to go. And he was like, you talk to Vince, I'll talk to Vince and we'll get back to you. I ended up talking to Vince. And Vince says, Rob, I understand that you don't want to go to Iraq or wherever the fuck it was. And I said, yeah, I'm in need of this break that's coming up. And he said, I appreciate that, Rob. And I was like, cool. And he was like, but you're going to see, this is going to be one of the best experiences of your lifetime. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not going. And he said, well, hold on there. Before you say that, just take some time and talk to some of the wrestlers that have been there before. Ask them about their experiences. I think a lot of them will tell you it was one of the best experiences of their lifetime. And I was like, boom, left that meeting. Everyone started coming up to me and saying, man, that's so awesome that you told him no, man. I wish I could say no. I don't want to fucking go. Are you kidding me? And I'm like, well, why don't you tell them no? They're like, I'm not, dude, I can't get away with that. And I was like, I don't have a no heat clause in my contract. I'm saying no because I'm not going to fucking go. And they were like, man, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what would happen if I said that. And not everybody, but several of the boys came up and said that, and some of them did say it was a good time. And others, when they explained the trip, it sounded even worse than I imagined, or at least as bad. Everything from riding this huge airplane that sounds like a fucking warehouse in the sky with maybe even no seats on it. I don't know. It just sounds weird. And, I'm pretty happy with the experiences that I have. I'm not looking to add a whole lot of experiences. Anyway, and this was even several years ago, but this experience I didn't want. To go to the desert, to go to, where the people might hate us and there's a war. It wasn't even about all that, though. It was about me taking this promised 10 days off. And had to meet with Vince again. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. This got to a point where, and I want to get off of the main subject, but got to a point where at one point I wanted to fight Vince because I thought, hey, he really thinks he's got that control over me, like man to man. If I'm saying I will accept any consequences, I am not going, meaning you can fire me. What else does he think he can do on top of that? Like, is he, we've talked before about my perspective of being the flesh and them being the flesh peddlers and having that whole perspective, right? So, So I'm just a gladiator down there getting my fucking ear cut off tonight, for their entertainment while they're all making money. And that's how I've always. That is how it is. So that's the perspective anyway that I've always taken. So that made me take extra offense. Like I'm ready to rebel, whatever. I was outside Vince's door one time waiting, and I was going to ask him to pick a hand, and Paul talked me out of it. Another story. But he, I felt like this guy really thinks he's got that much power over me. Like I am not fucking going. Like I'll leave right now and go home. That's how I felt at the time. It got to be where it was so important to me because of priority, and I don't know, maybe ego, but mostly just my own self well-being and knowing that I could have control over myself. It got so important. Johnny comes up, has a meeting again the following week or whatever. And he says that the location has been moved. So it was in what was considered a safe area. Now it's in an area that is considered semi-safe. And I think Qatar was either A or B. Can't remember which at the time. Pretty sure about that. And he says this time it really is going to be voluntary. We can't make you go to this possibly unsafe war zone on your own. And they looked right at me in front of everyone and said, Rob, I know you're not going. Rob, I know you're not going. And I said, have fun, everybody.
See you guys.
My point to that is those boys act like they had no option. is if they were shackled like prisoners and were going to be, transported to the desert on the other side of the world against their will. That's how they treated it. You always have options. You may not like the options, but if you think about it, you can list a few options. Very seldomly are you completely trapped without any options. And when I say options, I'm talking about an opportunity to react or an opportunity to act. That's what an option is. It's an action. It's not a no action, and I'll get to that in a second. But basic thinkers a lot of times will try to manipulate you, and so will smarter people that just try to use this control method on you, where they will try to act as if they had no options. The options were all on you. You know what I mean? Hey, you, Dom, you made me do that. I didn't want to hit you, but you made me do that. Really? That guy didn't have the option to not hit you, but people say that, they'll, hey, if you say that word again, I'm going to punch you in your mouth. That word again, bam. Hey, you made me say that. Well, I mean, really, you had an option still after I said that to punch me or to cross that assault and battery line, really, or to not punch me. But when they manipulate you like that, I don't know if that's what gaslighting is. I really don't know what the term means. I've heard of it referred to as that, like when a boyfriend tells the girl, it's all in your mind, honey. I'm not seeing anybody. And really, they are.
Yeah,
they're fucking someone else,
yeah.
and they make the girl think she's going crazy by lying and saying, I don't really know what gaslighting means, and that's different than trolling, which I've heard people use trolling in so many different ways that I'm not even sure what that means. To me, to me, trolling is when you go out of your way to bring someone else down for your own pleasure. Like you seek pleasure by doing that, tagging somebody in and giving them insults or whatever. And it's a sad, miserable, pathetic action to take. But to me, that's what trolling is. And there might be trolling in society, maybe, when you stalk people, harass them, that could possibly be to an extent. But I think of it more like that. With the options, it's like, what are my options? You know what I mean? Maybe my back was up against the edge of the cliff, but if I say I had no choice, I had no choice. I had no choice. What was I going to do? I could have jumped off. I'm not going to do that. And I'm certainly not telling people to kill themselves. But what I'm saying is when it comes to taking an action, you have the option to take that action or another action. What you don't have an option over is a non-action. And when I say non-action, that's you doing nothing, somebody else. You don't have options over what someone else says about you. Someone's talking shit about you and it's not even true. You don't really have the option whether that person talks shit that's not true about you or not. You don't, because in this equation, what you're doing is nothing. You're being talked about. That's not your option. You could say long-term that you could take action that could change things. For instance, if this person, let's say, how about this? A non-action into a non-action. You don't have options or anything to say about how someone else feels about you, because not only are you doing nothing, they're doing nothing. They're just feeling. And you could say, you can go long term, you can go big circle. You could say, well, I could take action to make them like me and make them change their mind so that they quit talking shit about me. I could if I could make that my mission. But then you're really talking about changing the whole equation and all the factors in it and then reassessing it. So still, that doesn't really fit in with this RVDology formula. I had This is 2017, I believe. I had a WWE Legends deal on the table to do the Legends deal where they can make shit with you share your intellectual property rights with them for the term. I also had at the same time a company in England that was a startup company. AEW is doing great right now. When they first came out and everybody said, wow, there's a new company, the owner has like Major League Baseball money. I've heard that so many times. Brian Knobs had a Major League Baseball investor several years ago that was going to be a new company, and they're going to have health insurance for the wrestlers. And there's always ones that start up and stuff. We're talking about TNA now rebranding or whatever. I was saying I think they have whatever they need to keep on moving forward because they seem to be complacent. And remember, they started out with just pay-per-view. So maybe that's still their formula of where they get by, and I don't know why they're happy on that and not growing, or maybe that's changing. I don't know. But what I'm trying to get to is what AEW did was defeat the odds. They really did go past that bubble of everyone trying to get to the next level and did it in a major way to where everyone's talking about them. And now, obviously, they're the competitive show. This company in England wasn't looking to be the next what AEW is, but they were a pretty good deal, and I assume they had the money behind their plans. They were going to run 30 or maybe it was 35 weeks in a row. In England. And they were paying me my fee. I had the choice to go back and forth first class every week, or to stay over there the whole time, or any combination thereof. They signed up a lot of guys. It was good money for a minute. They were growing. They didn't start out huge, but I think they did about 5 shows, and it was bigger. The last show was like a really good show. Me and Rey Mysterio tagged over there against Moose and somebody, but it was so fun, and it was good seeing them learn how to do what they were doing. But it turns out that their money came from a video game company, so I was told. And so when I had that Legends deal from WWE, I had an issue. I was in a conundrum because WWE said I had to give them exclusive rights to my video game image. I couldn't sign this deal with 5 Star Wrestling. Mm-hmm. Well, 5 Star Wrestling was going to be a lot more money. 5 Star Wrestling already gave me a deposit. And the Legends deal was shrinking, as it does when you're gone for a while. Mm-hmm. Some of the wrestlers, I noticed, there's a video, they talk about their royalties. Did I call it resume? The royalties on the fucking on YouTube. But the further you're away, if they don't make stuff, it gets smaller and smaller. I had a conversation with Mark Carano where I was like, honestly, because you get an upfront guarantee, which a lot of the boys maybe need. I don't know. I told Carano, I said, honestly, like my royalties, here's the last 4 or 5 of them. If you look at them, the way it's going, I said, if I sign this deal and take your advance, I'm going to feel like I'm in debt for the next year and a half. Yeah. paying off the advance. It's not. And these guys already got the money, and we're already starting to rock and roll. So this. I had 2 options: sign it, a 3-year deal with WWE. And Carano did talk about maybe making some new action figures or whatever. And okay, sounds good. To compare it to getting paid every week, 35 weeks in a row to wrestle, it wasn't comparable. I mean, the 5 Star Wrestling wasn't as sure, but it was the bird in my hand. If you haven't heard of the expression, I had a bird in the hand and a bird in the bush, which meant I couldn't see the other bird. That was an offer. And it wasn't like WWE is going to rescind an offer or do anything illegal or shady or close down, not be able to follow through. But at the same time, they weren't doing nothing with my merch at the time. I went with the bird in the hand, and I signed up with the 5-Star Wrestling instead. And because of that, I had no royalty merchandise Legends deal with WWE. I think 5-Star Wrestling lasted 5 weeks, which was exactly what Carlito predicted it was going to do. 5 weeks, then they closed down, and I wasn't bitter. The guys are pissed, of course. Hey, it's this guy's fault, that guy's fault. I just said, guys, I enjoyed working with you. Good luck in the future. Sorry it didn't work out. And I got like 5 weeks worth of pay and fun and experience, and it was cool. Me and Katie went over there. I would go over there, and then I would stay for a week until the next time, and then I'd come home. So got to stay and go, and I did both, and it was a really cool experience. But I had that option, and obviously after they closed down, I was thinking about, did I make the right option? But in the end, WWE still has to pay me anyway for my likeness. With that deal or not, they're just not going to make anything new with me. But we still got to get paid. And other wrestlers, like I might have mentioned that I tagged with during this conversation, had said that he didn't have a deal with them for a long time, but they just kept paying him anyway, which they have to. All right. Anyway, I'm talking about options, and hopefully you can relate in a way that you have options. You just might not like the options. But when it comes to taking action, you do. You do have an option. You can't say, hey, what was I going to do? I had to knock the guy out. He was talking shit. You could have opted to not knock the guy out, and then you wouldn't be in jail or being sued or whatever. But options. Think about that this week until I talk to you again next week. When you find yourself in a predicament where you feel like you're stuck, think about it. There's other options that you could take, and you know what? Weigh them all out. Make sure you're taking the best option. Do it for you, because you deserve it, fool.
Boom. Yeah. You always do have options. Sometimes you're so caught up in what you're doing that you necessarily don't think you have an option, but you really do if you just.
And like I said, it's not your option what someone else thinks about you or says about you, because that's not you taking any action at all. That's completely something that's not even your business. So fuck them. People see what they're going to see. Don't let it bother you too much. We'll talk more about that on another one.
How about that? Rob, before we go, I got to ask you about your Spicoli shirt. What's
thank you. So new shirt, Pro Wrestling Tees. Just sent this to me. I got it just today and put it on, and it's a new shirt available at PWT's Spicoli Driver.
Oh yeah. Represent, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good shit. Cool, Rob. Any plans for the weekend you got going on? Anything you want to plug too?
Yeah, well, the next booking that the fans should care about is November 11th, which is the big event in New Jersey.
Oh.
We'll do a show or two before then. This coming next weekend, the following Halloween, Katie is booked with. God, I was going to look it up before this so I don't fuck it up. Is it UWW? The women's, the Universal Women Wrestling? I think
was it the one she did a few weeks ago too? Was it?
Yeah, yes. I'm looking them up right now because I meant to fucking. Man, I get a lot of fucking messages.
Too many messages.
Yeah, I'm going to try. Oh, it is UWW. It's UWW. And anyway, November, I think, 4th and 5th, I think. Why do we squint when we're thinking real hard?
I don't know.
That's almost as funny as the dance face.
It's a dance face.
Think
face.
Yeah, I don't know. Mr. Olympia in Orlando. She's going to be there at a booth for UWW, and I may go down and check that out as well. I'm planning on it, but someone else also made other plans. So we'll see what happens with this fucking ongoing case that I got going on.
Well, how about that?
It's a conflict.
Mm.
The guy. I can't wait to talk about it. This fucking douchebag that's been suing me for like 4 years, trying to get some money after he fight with me, and it just so happens that this trial is a conflict with this Orlando thing. So we'll see, because it gets moved all the time, whatever. And we'll be able to talk a lot about it, but it's definitely at least an RVDology episode on its own.
Well, how about that? Yeah, jeez, oh man. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that, and it's just like, yeah, I forgot about it, and so like it's like, man, yeah, not fun to deal with that kind of shit.
Total douchebag, picked a fight with me, didn't like the results, and for 4 years now, he's so stupid. I can't believe it's still going on.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, his deposition was so far off from anything that happened, and it was all so provable, from the video camera to the time, everything. But I guess, you know what someone told me was that if lawyers have a client that's paying them, even if they know they're going to lose, they're going to keep it going until they stop getting paid.
Right? Yeah, that's it.
Great, but yeah. Anyway, I'm talking about that. You never know what someone else is going through, and that's one of the many things that someday I'll reveal. Yeah, I'll be like, shit, really? Back then, I didn't know that.
Damn. Well, cool, guys. Yes, if you like what you're seeing and hearing, go to rvdpod.com, get the clips, get the episodes. Hey, we're on Rumble, too, so go to rumble.com, type in One of a Kind with RVD, and you can get the full episodes there. And every Monday, the episodes will air in full there for sure. Sometimes we have little complications getting them up on YouTube and stuff like that, just with what's the, how the algorithm works or whatever. But you'll get them on Rumble if you go there. Give us 5 stars.
Cut your mouth, because you swear so much.
I curse so fucking much. It's too
much. Knock it the fuck off, bro.
No, I guess fucking stop. It's too fucking hard. But so yeah, do that. Follow Rob on Twitter at The Real RVD. Follow me on Twitter at Dominic D'Angelo. Hit up the Premier Streaming Network if you want to catch these episodes early every Friday at 4:20 p.m. But you can check us out everywhere at Monday, 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And if you want me to keep doing these RVDology segments, hit the fucking like below.
Hit the like down below and hit that subscribe. Best part of the show.
Oh, you know what? Can we talk about Twitter for a second?
Yes, we can. Let's talk about Twitter.
I was on yesterday. You saw it. Talking to some people, sensitive people that get offended, and they think they have a subject they can cancel, but they don't realize they're just dipshits that take everything wrong. But anyway, that was referring to. Oh yeah, and then I saw there's a video today that says I don't know if I say it now, it might be taken from it and make more headlines. But don't do that on our page anyway. But
yeah, okay.
There was a thing like a 2-hour episode, and it says RVD. I don't know if it said accuses Dave Meltzer of being gay or something. And but what the comment? I don't know. Somebody had a comment, and it was something about how come Dave doesn't like people being over 50, something like that. I'm totally paraphrasing. That's not exactly what it was, but I just was responding with a thought-provoking question, and I just used Dave to anchor into that. You know what I mean? Like I could give a fuck about what he prefers. But anyway, I just said I wonder if there's, I don't know, like a homoerotic reason behind wanting. And I said it, I don't know, somewhere I put comma, and maybe some people, and I said like maybe like Dave, and just kind of to be funny and anchor it off. But anyway, I could give a fuck, everyone jumped on that. But because I guess there's been some talk, and so they think that I'm bringing up some shit that's already been said, some facts or misfacts or whatever, some rumors, and nothing to do with any of that. I totally don't give a fuck. But what I was trying to say though was, because wrestling is, I mean, if you think about, if you want to take a homoerotic perspective of wrestling, and you can't see that, there's something wrong with you. Look at the very first statues of wrestling from Greek mythology of Hercules suplexing the guy that's holding onto his cock, and they're both naked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you want to see it? It's very famous.
Yeah, it's like a Greco-Roman thing, right?
Yeah, you've seen it probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, right? Oops. Hey. God damn it. Technology. This guy.
Oh,
right?
yeah. the old
very famous statue. Or maybe he suplexed him. Side suplex, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so gay people, like, what? Someone used the word gay? He's a homophobe, and they go after, and then they jump up, and it's stupid. So it's something I should ignore. But then, anyway, what my point was that, like, men or boys, males, say they want to, like, when they watch wrestling, they would prefer watching males that are closer to their age, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes, not necessarily, but for this purpose, they would rather watch somebody, regardless of the way the person looks or the moves or something else that wrestling could be judged on, but they feel like they can relate more and therefore prefer people closer to their age. And if you want to look at it from a homoerotic position, you got to be open-minded enough to think about it this way. But hang with me here. I think it's part of living vicariously through that person, and even that a little bit can be, in a man crush kind of way. You can worship another dude enough to where you want to be him, and if you really want to be him in his skin, and you don't think that's a little gay, then you're not going to get what I'm saying at all, and people are going to be offended and come forward with this. But I remember when Finley was wrestling, and I thought, well, he's definitely the old guy. He's got white hair, and and he's a badass though, But I remember, like, thinking of him like he's real old, and it stands out. Everyone else so young when he was doing his run. But then he could stretch everybody too. But I remember it was that was interesting. Man, there was somebody, I forgot who it was, but when I was younger, it seems like there was somebody too. And I remember thinking, like, I didn't want to see them as much just because I couldn't relate to them as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Personally, I think, and this is a whole nother episode to talk about, but whether this is right or wrong or works for you personally, I think I feel like even like a self physical worship in a certain way can feel gay to me. And I'll give you an example. I've had friends that are like, and they're lonely, I get it, and they don't have anyone to bounce off of to get feedback off of to judge themselves, and that's part of it. But I've had friends that are like, I think a woman should be happy to have me. You know what I mean? As a boyfriend, I think I'm good looking. Don't you, Rob? I mean, I'm in decent shape. Don't you think? Don't you think I'd be a pretty good catch? I'm like, dude, I don't want to think of you that way, but. But to him, it's like just an open, honest conversation. But to me, it's a little bit too much into the bromance for me to feel like really comfortable. And that's just me. And I'm not saying that everyone else should be like that. And that doesn't make me a homophobe. But for me, I'd be fine if there was no mirrors in the house. I've seen my face enough over the years. You know what I mean? And Katie knows that about me. She knows me better than anybody knows me. And that's one of the many things that she has to take about me, and that I might be different than other people, but I can't, she'll get stuck in the mirror. And she's always been like that. She'll be looking in the mirror at herself, and her mom used to tell her to get away from the mirror when she was growing up. But for me, it's like, dude, no, I don't enjoy looking at myself. And like, I don't understand because I feel like that. I don't understand my male friends that do, that I'd be like looking at themselves in the mirror and being like, I think I'm pretty handsome. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a 10, but I'd say I'm about a dude. How are you going to fucking judge yourself? Like, what is that? Yeah. What is that? That's in scale in comparison to other dudes. Like, I don't know. For me, let me add this too, which I think might be true. Mm-hmm. And again, I said they don't have someone to bounce, get feedback from, to judge them, but to get their own opinion, which is a part of all of us. If you grow up and every kid at school tells you that you're ugly, you're going to believe you're ugly. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. That's just the way it is. But I heard this once and I liked it. And it was easy for me to see which side of the fence I fall on, if this is in fact true. But it was the expression was that some men get their sense of what was the word? Masculinity from women, and some men get it from other men.
Yeah.
Not the masculinity, I guess their male behaviors. I don't know. Is that masculinity? I'm probably
masculinity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when I heard that, I asked a friend, and he was like, I think that's true. And I was like, would you agree that like you're on the side towards men, just, and he was like, yeah, just because like, I compare myself in the gym to other guys, and that's how I gauge my own self and my own masculinity. And I was like, yeah, I think that sounds true. And I'm not like that. I don't even notice other people or whatever, and I judge mine more off of females, and I like to be surrounded with females. I like to be the only guy on property. We've talked about that.
Yep.
If I have a son, he has to be thrown to the ocean, just like anyway, I was talking about that as far as wrestling goes, how you could see it from that perspective. But and for whatever, if you're offended or not, go ahead and leave me comments. But there's not more of a point to that, but there is to where the conversation went somewhere where I was talking about me, and I was just saying, I know that 52-year-old RVD would beat the shit out of 25-year-old RVD. Yeah. And somebody was like, wow, that's hard to imagine. And that like really surprised me that it's so weird for me to think that people see me as vulnerable because I don't see myself as vulnerable. So it's so weird that they would think that. So like the 25-year-olds think that they're gonna kick my ass or something. And then somebody responded, maybe it was the same one, saying it's really hard to imagine a 52-year-old beating up a 25-year-old. And I was like, wow, like that is amazing. Maybe I felt like that when I was 25. I don't know, but it's so fucking amazing now to think of that from my perspective, because I was such a child when I was 25, and when you look at a lot of the really young guys that are wrestling, they're some of them are smaller because they're still growing. You're still growing, in your 20s and shit. But one thing that I wanted to say was, okay, so you got Billy Gunn versus one of his kids. Who's your money on?
Right, yeah.
How is that so hard to imagine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel awesome. Enjoyed the match. Hope to get back in the ring again really quick because I feel better every time. And now I'm already critiquing myself. I'm going to get a little higher on this, a little faster on that. Boom, boom, boom. Trade in do some moves no one else has seen. And hey, don't be stealing my fucking corkscrew leg drop on the back, yo.
That was fucking cool. Rob,
you never seen that shit before, have you?
Didn't see it. No, I was like, has Rob done that before? Because I never saw it happen anywhere. So it was good shit. It's damn good, Rob.
I ain't done, bro. You can copy my shit. That don't mean I'm stepping aside.
Boom.
fuckers.
You gotta. I will bring it. All right.
Yeah.
We'll bring it here next week on One of a Kind. We'll see you next week, guys. Yeah.
Have a good week, everybody.
Yep. See you guys.
Phantom